Natalie, you get to start. I'm kind of trying to combine two similar questions, so I hope I do your questions justice. And I may need to kind of go through it a couple times if you get confused. Do you believe it is a conflict of interest or a problem for Mr. Malone being both city prosecutor and county attorney and head of private practice?
There is no true conflict of interest between representing an entity that's the city as a prosecutor and representing an entity that's the county as a prosecutor. I would say when it comes to the civil practice that Mr. Malone engages in, that's not nearly as clear. There are times, have been times and will be times, where someone who Mr. Malone represents in a workers' comp action ends up with charges referred to the office, whether it be the city or the county. And I would suspect I wouldn't want to be in his shoes at that point and trying to deal with that situation. My thought is the best way to avoid that is to eliminate the conflict. Don't engage in the practice of civil law in your community if you are the head prosecutor. Focus your energy on prosecution. You won't run afoul of that problem.
Obviously, there's no conflict between being the Dodge City prosecutor and the county prosecutor. In fact, it's an admired situation across the state, and the fact that I have discretion and over both courts, and it is much easier for me to look at a case and say this really doesn't belong in the city court. This belongs over in the district court because the person, their attitude or whatever, or the type of crime that they committed. Before, there's always been this kind of division of some sort of jealousy or territorial thing that the county attorney didn't want to take on any more work. It certainly didn't want any of the city's work, and vice versa. So, because of my unique position, I have just unilaterally made a decision to transfer all domestic cases to the district court to be prosecuted by a full-time special prosecutor that focuses only on domestic crimes, and with that we have many more resources in the county to deal with those problems on a probation situation than we do in the city. So that's important. I think it's important for the people to recognize that that's a good thing. Rarely do I, in any type of situation, my practice, as limited as it is presently, deals mostly with insurance companies. So I rarely ever represent any individual. And if a conflict does come up, I think maybe it has once or twice. I'm saying that because I can't even remember one. Then obviously we handle it, and I bow out just like any county attorney does, or any district judge does, or any attorney general does.
Mr. Malone mentioned two things. One of them is a lot of discretion, and the other was that he could unilaterally make decisions to move cases from one jurisdiction to another. The problem with that is a lot of times those things take place before meeting with stakeholders, talking with the courts, talking with law enforcement, and saying, how are we going to implement this change? We're going to take these domestic cases and take them out of the city and put them at the county. But anybody talk to the county judges about that? Has anybody talked to the city judge about that? Has anybody gone to the police and the sheriff's office and said, how is this going to affect arrests and incarcerations? My understanding is that change took place without any of that pre-planning. There was a lack of communication, and now they're on the back end trying to correct problems. My goal as county attorney will be to work with every stakeholder involved in a major decision, get the input first, and act later.
Well, that'd be incorrect information too, but the fact of the matter is the city manager, who's also the city attorney who I work for, talked about it with Chief Milliker. I do what I think is best for the people of the county and the victims of crimes. Judges, they essentially are not advocates, so they're not involved in decisions as to what is brought before them. They have to deal with what is brought before them. This is very good move for domestic violence victims. If we're concerned about women who are trapped in situations and families are being torn apart by domestic violence, then we have to do something about it, and I'm doing something about it. And I think we're going to have terrific results from it.
Well, if anybody else is going to watch, it's almost 7 o'clock.